So, like here reacting, UFC 312. Overall, it was a pretty decent card. Honestly, there were some good fights, but honestly, I think the two title fights were pretty entertaining. Let's just start with Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I mean, absolute masterclass. Not even masterclass, but like absolute god tier performance from Zhang Weili. I mean, Tatiana Suarez was doing good in the first round. You know, she almost got the guillotine. She was wrestling Zhang Weili, but past that, I mean, she was just getting. I mean, Suarez was still trying to go for the takedowns, but Weili was defending them. Weili was outstriking and owning Suarez on the feet. And for almost 4 rounds, we were just seeing Weili just beat Suarez, and we're wondering, is it going to end in a finish? But it didn't. And I mean, we got to look at the fact that Weili defended almost 14 takedowns from Suarez, and Weili even got her own takedown on Suarez, and she almost submitted her as well. I mean, this was a very entertaining fight. It was a very good masterclass performance from Weili. Weili is honestly dominating the division right now, and honestly, if she wants to move up and get a second belt, let her fight Shevchenko. Because at this point, I mean, there's Jandiroba. I honestly think that if she defends against Jandiroba, which honestly I would pick her to win that fight. When she defends against Jandiroba, let her move up. Let her get the flyweight title, because defeating Jandiroba, she cleared out the division. And for Suarez, well, she's gonna have to be more active. I mean, the inactivity, not fighting for so long, it's clearly affected her. That was her first 5 rounds, and it definitely very much showed. Like, she didn't even gas going into the championship round. She gassed like after round 1, and I mean, I just have to respect Suarez's adversity. I mean, she was taking these shots, and she still kept trying to fight, kept trying to take her down, and it was like, I mean, it made me think like she could definitely be a future champion, but with Weili, I just don't think it's gonna happen. But I think Suarez definitely has more to grow. She's 34, she's getting up there in age, but we'll see. I would say Jandiroba definitely deserves the next title shot, but I think Zhao Nan is fighting Jandiroba, right? For 314? I think so, right? Yeah, I think she is. So, I think that'll be a good title contender. I think Jandiroba wins that, and I think she'll go on to fight Weili. But for Suarez, maybe defend down. Maybe, honestly, I want her to fight Mackenzie Dern. I think that's going to be a good fight. Mackenzie Dern at this point deserves to get a number 1 contender spot, or at least be eligible for the title after Jandiroba. So, sure, have her fight Mackenzie Dern. I think that would be a good, entertaining fight. I think it's going to be a very competitive one. I think it's a fight Suarez can definitely win. But, yeah. And for the next matchup for Weili, like I said before, Jandiroba is next for the title. I don't see her moving up, considering Shevchenko still has unfinished business with Manon Fiorot. But I think Weili can defend against. I see her defending against Jandiroba, and I think that would be a good one. But let's move on to the main event. Wow, this was a fight. I mean, this was definitely a good fight. Both of these guys came in, and one of the things I've noticed was Dricus du Plessis not really trying to shoot for a takedown. I was saying that maybe Dricus du Plessis would try to maybe take him to the ground, push the ground game more. And he did try to take him down, but to no avail. He got 1 takedown, but Sean Strickland got up very quickly. I mean, the first 3 rounds, it was pretty competitive. It was very close between both of them. They were both landing good shots. Sean Strickland was landing some good ones as well. But I think in round 4, the tide turned. Dricus hit him with a really good shot, broke his nose, and after that, I mean, Sean was he just could not recover from that. And for those 2 rounds, Dricus was just landing the better shots. Sean Strickland wasn't really being as aggressive as he was. And this points to one of my biggest critiques of Sean Strickland is just that he focuses too much on his defense and it limits his offense. I mean, for Adesanya and Imavov, he was being pretty offensive. I mean, he was still very much reserved. But Adesanya, Imavov, he was pushing the pace. And Sean Strickland, for the first 3 rounds, was pushing this pace on Dricus. He was the one making him walk back. And the problem was, Dricus already knew that Sean Strickland isn't going to be trying to go out with these power shots. And Dricus just kept, whenever he found the opportunity, he used the kicks really effectively. And he was able to, out-damage Sean Strickland, And, I mean, Dricus outstriked Strickland. And, I mean, this was a very good performance with Dricus du Plessis. I mean, Sean Strickland's a very hard guy to knock out. He's a very hard guy to submit. I mean, you're just going to go to decision movement no matter what. He's just going to keep fighting. And, I mean, I respect Sean Strickland's grit. He had a broken nose. He still kept fighting. And he still did very decent in the last 2 rounds. But it wasn't enough to get the judge's nod. I mean, I think this settled it. I mean, I knew this fight would go to a decision. I knew this would be a close fight as well. I didn't expect Sean Strickland to I thought Sean Strickland would try to be more aggressive in this fight. And he definitely was aggressive in most moments, but he wasn't doing enough. And that's the one thing I find frustrating with Strickland. He's very safe in his striking. And when he's more aggressive in his striking, that's when he gets really good. And like a lot of people criticize him for that. He goes a lot harder in his sparring than he does in his actual fights. And I just think maybe Sean needs to get out of that comfort zone. Maybe work on his offense, For, I guess, his title aspirations, now that he lost to Dricus twice, I don't really see him. I see him having a long road to the title. I mean, he had a good performance against Costa. It was a boring fight, but it was a good performance. And, being number 7 ranked guy gives you the title shot. People are judging him for that, but people aren't minding the fact that Kamzat only has 1 ranked win and he gets a title shot over Imavov, which is just weird. I guess people just want the hype guy. But for what's next for Sean Strickland, honestly, I think Imavov might fight Kaio for a title eliminator. For Sean Strickland, I don't really know what's next for him. I mean, he's a number 1 contender, and he's going to have to defend that contendership at some point. And for a fight, I honestly think maybe him versus the winner of Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez would be a good one. I mean, running that Brendan Allen rematch. But also, I'd love to see him fight an Anthony Hernandez who pushes the pace. Maybe that's the fight where Sean Strickland can kind of change up his style, Dricus isn't really a pressure fighter. I mean, we saw in most of that fight, Dricus was kind of not really pushing the pace as much as he was. Until he broke the nose, he wasn't really doing that. When he broke the nose, he got more confident and he pushed the pace. And even then, it was still pretty competitive. So maybe I think Strickland should fight the winner of Brandon Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. I think that'd be a great fight. I think for sure. I mean, number 7 to number 1 is a pretty big jump, but it's definitely been done before. I wouldn't be surprised. I think if Hernandez maybe comes out there, has an impressive performance against Brendan Allen, I think he definitely deserves that big jump up. But I think that would be the best fight to make for him right now. But Dricus du Plessis, he did really well in this fight. I think he adjusted to Sean Strickland's style, and he landed some good shots. This is one of those fights where it was just very close. And then, both of these guys, they were fighting like it's a war. They were fighting like it's a drunk war. Sean Strickland's striking is weird. Dricus du Plessis' striking is weird. But Dricus is strong. He's a strong guy, and for a guy like that to be really reckless and strong and still somehow make it work is impressive, but it's also dangerous. I think Sean Strickland... Sean Strickland's a better striker, but he doesn't have that power to equalize with Dricus. Dricus was landing the better shots because he has more power. He broke Sean Strickland's nose with a right hand. He hits hard, and he's a strong dude. So, Obviously, the fighter of this, the fighter next, the guy who's gonna get the next title shot is gonna be Khamzat. This is a match, honestly, I would have preferred more than Strickland. I think Strickland honestly would have lost to Khamzat. Although I think it would have been close, I think Strickland wouldn't have been able to handle the pressure of Khamzat. But for Dricus is honestly a very hard matchup for Khamzat. I don't know why people are counting him out. I mean, people are counting him out now, but Dricus is only getting better, and he's still young. I mean, I think him and Khamzat are the same age. I mean, this is a fight I am willing to wait for. I think he might, if Khamzat does find a way to fight in June, in July, that'd be great. If not, maybe I could see Imavov taking that title shot for Khamzat if he's not willing to fight that soon. For Dricus, on the other hand, fight Khamzat. If that doesn't work out, if Khamzat only wants to fight in Abu Dhabi, like any other Muslim guy, maybe fight Imavov. And I think he would win the Imavov matchup pretty easily. I mean, Imavov's boxing and wrestling is good, but Dricus is just different. I think Dricus is one of the biggest enigmas in MMA because this man just keeps winning. He just keeps winning. He has a weird style, but he's getting better. That's the thing. He's getting better. He changed his style going into the Sean Strickland fight. He started being a lot more patient with his strikes. He wasn't really using the blitzes as much as he used to. And I think that's what messed Strickland up. Dricus is a very good striker. And he was using the kicks a lot in this fight. And the kicks were getting to Strickland. The body kicks, the leg kicks were landing. He landed a couple of head kicks as well. I mean, they kind of grazed him a bit. They weren't solid head kicks, but they were landing. And I think Dricus has a really good way of adapting to people's styles. He adapted to Adesanyas. He adapted to Whitakers. He adapted to Strickland's. And he's an evolving fighter. He's definitely pound for pound material because this man will fight anyone, anywhere. And I like that he's so keen on fighting Khamzat. Because, that's a fight I really want to see. I actually want to see that. Although I don't think Khamzat deserves a title shot over someone like Imavov. I think that Khamzat fight is gonna be a really popular fight. It's gonna be a really fun one. It's gonna be very interesting. These are two guys with pretty different styles. Khamzat's a very pressure wrestler kind of guy, a lot more skilled when it comes to the ground. But Dricus is just a guy that you just cannot mess with. This man is trying to kill you, and I'm gonna make a lot of predictions for that fight. I think Dricus and Khamzat's going to be good fun. And I think it's going to be competitive. Very competitive. I don't think it's going to end up like the Robert Whittaker fight. I don't think Khamzat's going to go in there and sub him early. Because, let's face it, that Whittaker fight was a fluke. He subbed him. But he just aggravated an injury that Robert Whittaker already had. Oh, you can break his jaw. His jaw was already broken before then. I mean, it was a good performance. He was definitely ragdolling Robert Whittaker before, but that submission doesn't really tell me much. It didn't really tell me that Khamzat's this dangerous guy who could just break someone's jaw. He's not doing Dricus du Plessis like that. He's not going to go ragdoll DDP on the ground. Because DDP's a big guy. He's a strong dude. And he's a good wrestler. He's a good grappler. He's good enough to at least be able to defend Khamzat. And maybe he's not Usman grappling. But, I mean, Khamzat had a very close fight. Honestly, arguably a draw or a win for Usman. Against an 8-day short notice, 185 washed Usman, who literally was on a 2-fight losing streak. And he had a very close fight. If that fight was 5 rounds, Kamaru Usman would have won. And I think Khamzat getting that Robert Whittaker win, it definitely elevated his hype again, because before that, people were kind of calling him a joke. And honestly, rightly so. He was doing crypto scams and siding with dictators, terrorists, and, not really fighting. So, in my opinion, I think the Dricus fight versus Khamzat is next, no matter what. There is some cases where Khamzat might not fight and maybe Dricus wants to fight, and Dricus will fight another guy like Imavov, which honestly I wouldn't mind, because Imavov definitely has a case for a title shot. But I know it's unfair for, Kamsa had a very impressive performance against Robert Whittaker. To deny him the title shot, I mean, it would be unfair. So I think I'd like to see that fight. And I mean, this event was okay. It was okay. Granted, like I mean, Dricus had an impressive performance. Weili had an impressive performance. I mean, Crew and Bellotto was definitely a fight. It was definitely a scrap. Matthews had a good performance. Santos submitting Jack Jenkins. Wayne Kong was picking up Bruno Brazil like nothing. I don't know what Bruno was doing, but and we also saw a debut of Alexander Topuria. Colby did really good. I mean, I wouldn't say Colby did good enough, but Colby did good for a short notice fight against literally Ilia Topuria's brother. And I mean, there's definitely a lot of fight of the night contenders in there. Rongzhu versus Cody Steele, definitely. I think I can see this being fight of the night. And then Killen getting the second fastest debut knockout against Anshu Jubi. That kind of hurts, seeing a fellow Indian guy get knocked out like that. But it's whatever, India's not an MMA country. It's a cricket country. It's a field hockey country. It's a different sport, You don't expect people from fucking, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of good Brazilian MMA fighters. Maybe India's just cooked. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's next for Jubilee. He might get cut, but if not, I hope they just give him an easy opponent. Because, I mean, Killen was honestly a very hyped up prospect, so, of course, he was going to win. But it's 2 a.m. Stayed up for an event. A lot of people are shitting on Dricus for no reason. Saying Khamzat's coming. Fuck Khamzat. He's a Chechnyan whore. And I think Dricus wins against Khamzat. I think he will take Khamzat to deep waters. He will do him worse than Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns did. That's not an understatement. Dricus is different. And he's only getting better and better. And it's about time that Khamzat's going to fight again. Maybe in a year or so. He only fights once a year. And he's going to fight in Abu Dhabi. Do all this stuff and miss weight on the scales. But they're going to cover it up because he's Muslim. Yeah, because we all know he fucking missed weight in that Robert Whittaker fight. Like, you cannot tell me otherwise. Watch that weigh-in video and you'll see. But for Sean Strickland, I don't really know. He's definitely not getting a title shot anytime soon. Sad to see, but if Sean Strickland doesn't improve his style, I mean, of course he's not going to do well. These guys are only improving and evolving, and Sean Strickland's staying the same. It's going to have to change. And if he doesn't change, he's just going to go down in the rankings. He's just going to be that one guy who defeated Adesanya and became champion. But Dricus du Plessis is the new era. I mean, he's proving himself to be a very big force. And if he remains victorious against Khamzat, there's no one else in the division for him. And defeating Khamzat and maybe defeating Imavov, because he says he does want to defend the title until he cleared the division. If he defends against Khamzat, make the case to put him up to light heavyweight. Let's see Alex Pereira deal with him and get revenge for Sean Strickland. Because I would love to see that. But for Dricus, there's so many opportunities for him. The Khamzat fight is going to come up, so we'll see when that gets announced. There was an announcement for UFC Mexico City. UFC 314 is in Miami. I'm going to be going and attending that event personally. I don't know what the main event is. I don't think anyone does. But we'll see. I hope it's going to be a good one. I mean, it's already a stacked card, so it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good event. I'm definitely going to be attending. I mean, I'm like 40 minutes away from the Kaseya Center, so it's going to be a good one. I'm going to definitely attend. Tickets might be a bit expensive, but I'll get them early. And International Fight Week, Khamzat wants that fight. Dricus won. Dricus versus Khamzat next. Let's do that. I love to see that fight. I got my boy Dricus. I mean, I like both Dricus and Sean Strickland, but Dricus is only getting better and better, and I like to see that he's getting that respect. He's getting that well-deserved respect. I mean, the Khamzat fans are going to keep sucking Khamzat's dick. Like, like some whore, you know? It's like, it's gonna happen. And they're gonna keep gargling his nuts and drinking his cum, like, and fucking glazing him and shit. But, in my opinion, I think Dricus is the future, not Khamzat. Khamzat's gonna get destroyed. And I can't wait to see that. And I can't wait for those fans to shut the fuck up. But it's clear that I'm tired. I'm aggravated. I saw comments disrespecting my boy DDP. And I had to vent out there. But if you're a Khamzat vet, you can go kill yourself. Because Dricus is going to go submit your boy. He's going to go knock out your boy. He's going to TKO his ass. Make him feel like a fucking victim. Maybe kiss his coach and make out with his coach or something, and then that'll be it. Anyways, see ya, fuckers.